Every time vLLM restarts, your KV cache, hundreds of GBs of pre-computed data just disappears. Model switch, gone. Crash, gone. Rebuild it from scratch, vLLM and Novita AI just shipped a fix for this. It's called PegaFlow. It's a standalone Rust process that owns the KV cache instead of vLLM owning it. vLLM just connects to it. So the cache survives restarts, crashes, and model swaps because it's not living inside vLLM anymore. This is Fahad Mirza and I welcome you to the channel. In this video we are going to do a hands-on as how this PegaFlow works with vLLM and how exactly this survives this crashes. So let's get right into it. Recently I also have started this free weekly AI newsletter at fahadmirza.substack.com. I'm going to use this Ubuntu system and I have one GPU card with NVIDIA RTX 6000 with 48 GB of VRAM. First up, let's install that plugin with simple UV command pegaflow-llm, and that's done. It's very lightweight. In the next step, we need to start that PegaFlow server. It's a very simple command, as you can see here. If you look at this command, all it is doing, it is starting the cache server on its own before even vLLM even exists. And you can see that no model loaded yet. This is just the cache daemon which is going to run on our local system. So this tells you that I need to set my environment variable. So let me quickly do that. And instead of setting my environment variable to LD library path, all I have done, I have just upgraded it to CUDA 13, as you can see, CU 13, and that should fix this. If you have older CUDA version, you can just go with LD underscore library underscore path environment variable. And now you can see that the PegaFlow is running. And there you go, you can see that now PegaFlow is running as its own service, listening on port 5055 with its memory and SSD cache ready. Right now it's just sitting here idle, no model attached yet. Next we are going to start the vLLM and point it at this exact process. Let me open another terminal here. And this is where I'm restarting that vLLM server. Normally serving 0.38 billion, you can serve any model of your choice, but you can see that there is one extra flag which is kv transfer config. And this tells vLLM don't manage your own kv cache, hand it off to PegaFlow instead. And you can see that I haven't touched vLLM source code at all. This is just a config flag. That's it. Let's run this. And while it serves, I think this is the time when we should have a very quick look at its architecture in very simple words. So I will make it very quick and sharp. vLLM talks to PegaFlow two ways. CUDA IPC or inter-process communication for moving the actual cache data, gRPC for control messages. PegaFlow then manages three tiers underneath: pinned memory, SSD or solid state disk, and if you have multiple nodes, RDMA to remote machines. That is all there is to it. If you look at this diagram, this is where it is showing their test. A 500 billion cache pool took vLLM 71 seconds to warm up when it owned the cache itself. With PegaFlow already holding it, vLLM was ready in just 33 seconds, over 2 times faster. Also, there are a lot of other information around, this latency, same cache budget, and few things here and there. I will talk through it shortly. For example, if you look at this cross node RDMA, if you're running a cluster, PegaFlow can pull cache from another node over RDMA fast enough that it barely costs anything. 24 GB in about 100 milliseconds. I'm on one GPU as I just showed you. So today I can't show this part, but that's a ceiling for fleets. Our vLLM is now running and serving that model. I have just copy pasted this whole log just in this VS Code to show you where exactly PegaFlow is getting activated. Look at this line number 14 or 13, just where it says PegaFlow dot connector. That's vLLM confirming it loaded and activated PegaFlow as its KV cache backend, not the default in process 1. So let me go back to the terminal and let's open another terminal and let's quickly check it out. Maybe I will quickly test out this curl command. There it is. It says the capital is Paris. The request went through vLLM answered normally. That confirms the server works end to end with PegaFlow wired in. And we can also see that if I take you to the logs of PegaFlow, and here is the real proof. Look at this PegaFlow core and all that. This is PegaFlow's own internal terminal, completely separate from vLLM, which is running in this second terminal at the moment, as you can see here. This is our vLLM. So you can see that in PegaFlow's terminal, it logged a registered context patch with 36 layers, which matches Qwen 3 8 billions architecture exactly. That means vLLM handled and handed its KV cache management over to this external process. This is PegaFlow actively holding the cache for our model, not vLLM just talking to itself. And look at this diagram from their blog. That same amount of cache memory, just used smarter. On the left, 8 small models sharing one cache pool instead of 8 separate ones. That alone gets 56% more throughput and cuts wait time by over a third. On the right hand side, a big model split across 8 GPUs stores its cache once instead of copying it 8 times, 72% more throughput, and hit rate jumps to 97%, meaning almost every request finds what it needs and already cached. That is the whole advantage here. And as I said, the more servers, the more GPUs, the more multi-GPU clusters you have, the larger the model, the more evident the advantage here. And finally, have a quick look at this diagram. When background work like stats and prefetching runs alongside the actual cache traffic, the Python version slow way down. Worst case, Python ZMQ's tail latency jumps from 5.9 millisecond to 7.6 millisecond. PegaFlow's Rust version barely moves, staying flat around 1.5 millisecond. Either way, that's why they built this whole thing in Rust instead of Python. So look, I think I'm quite impressed. That's PegaFlow for you, a standalone cache service, one config flag to connect to it, and real gains whether you are running one GPU or a whole fleet. And you just saw that on my single A6000, and I only got to show you the basics. But multi-instance cross-node numbers, I think they would be really, really impressive. Check it out. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this. And if you want to support the channel, please become a member. Thank you for all the support.